We've beaten Super Mario Odyssey in a lot of weird ways, but today we're gonna do a normal run of the game and beating it absolutely perfectly. So, starts out pretty simple. All we do is run through the start of Cap Kingdom to meet up with Cappy, then do a couple of jumps up these platforms to make it inside Top Hat Tower. Once inside here, of course we capture the frog, then we just have to go back a little bit to jump across these platforms and make it up the really high ledge. With the hops of the frog, there's no trouble making it up this tower. And the same can be said for walking up to the boss fight and taking down Topper. Now it's off to Cascade. Things are a little more complicated here. We have to walk around the side of this ramp so we can make it to the Chain Chomp and break open the first moon. After that, we can go across the bridge and make our way through the rest of the kingdom. There are a couple of rocks here that allow us to jump up to where the dino is, but that's not gonna help us right now. So instead, we can capture Big Boy Chomp to break through these rocks, and capture another Chomp to break open the 2D wall. Here, we can get our second moon, and make it all the way to the top of the kingdom so we can enter the boss fight. Unfortunately, moving around as the Gold Chomp can be pretty slow sometimes, but we can still defeat her pretty quickly, grab the multi-moon, and power up the Odyssey. Now they could fly over to Sand Kingdom, which had a lot more story moons. First off, we got a couple of moons in the town by getting on top of these buildings, then walked over to the ruins to start the climb up to the highest tower. Using the floating platforms is key here, but then after a bit we jump across a couple of sand geysers, then make our way through another 2D section. Now here's where things get a little tricky, because we can use the bullet to get the moon over on the archway, but it'll run out of juice by then, so we have to make our way through the ruins again. Luckily, there's a hole in the wall right here that acts as kind of a shortcut to get us back to where we were. Now that we're back up here, we can make our way across these floating platforms while avoiding the bullets, then just walk right up to the tower. And of course there's another 2D section, but we get a secret moon from that and the first story moon of sand. The next bit is pretty simple. Just wait for these slow moving platforms to take you all the way to the Moai habitat, then capture the Moai and collect the shards. Obviously the shades have to be on for this because it's just the coolest way to do it. There's our second story moon. Then we go into the pyramid, travel through some more 2D, and fight Harriet all the way at the top. Then we can finish this by going into the underground ice caverns, but make sure to capture a Goomba because they don't slip on the ice. They also help you get this moon and jump up to this platform. This is where we capture a bullet and fly over to Knuckletech's arena. Of course, he is defeated with ease, and with that multi-moon, we have enough to leave. Now we could go to Lake Kingdom. Water levels. Sadly, at the start, there is a massive wall in the way, so we have to swim through the water-filled tunnel. It's not too bad though, because there are plenty of air bubbles in here. On the split, I decided to go right. This isn't the correct path, but it does give you a moon in a chest, so I'll take that. Then we can go the other way to get to the main water area and capture a Cheep Cheep. Now swimming is a lot easier, but we have to give that up once we enter the dome. One thing that we can do though is ground pound all the way down this tube and pay a visit to Captain Toad for another moon. Crucial right there. Then once we're back up, we can make our way to the top of the dome. First we go up one floor by using the water back here, then jump back into the main area and re-enter through this hole at the top. Then all we gotta do is hit this switch so we can swim all the way up, and we can activate this flower on the side just in case we fall back down. But now that that's done, we can soar over to Rango's arena and I guess have a little hat fight with him before he's eventually defeated. And now with the stairs spawned in at the beginning, there are more than enough moons available. So let's set sail off to Wooded now. To start out here, we make our way across the path all the way to the Sphinx. Make sure you know the answer because you gotta get it right. Then once we're through, we can make our way around the poison and over all the metal platforms. Sometimes the poison makes things a little tricky, but we can clear it all out with Cappy, and it's much easier once we reach the uproot. With this guy, making our way up the rest of the platforms and going through the maze is a piece of cake. Giant piranha plant gets taken down, and from there we use the flower roads to get inside the tower. The uproot once again makes it really easy to grab moons in here, and then we just fight Spewer. Nothing to it. Once that multi-moon is collected, the kingdom switches up, and once we make our way back through the Sphinx's cave, now we capture a tank and break open these rocks. This allows us to climb up a vine and explore a new part of the kingdom. There's a few moons we can get here, Charging Station, Goomba Love, and we can carve out just enough space in the rock wall to get that moon too. Now we just use the rocket flowers to get all the way up, shoot down a couple more targets with the tank, and defeat Torque Drift to save all the flowers. Now we're really on a roll, and we can keep that going in Cloud Kingdom by grabbing Bowser's hat and chasing him down to punch him away. Then there's Lost Kingdom. Walk over to the main area and try not to freak out when Klepto steals your hat. All you have to do to get Cappy back is follow the coins. Yeah, they're actually really helpful here. Ground pound a couple of platforms to make steps all the way up and get rid of that bird. And now that we have Cappy back, we can capture the Wiggler to help us get a lot of moons. First up is this puzzle to get the Wiggler high enough to reach this moon on the branch, and we'll probably also need one to cross this gap because it's just way too far. That moon can be collected, and while we still have this guy, we can use him to get all the shards and the Captain Toad moon. Then after that, take him over here to get the moon under the bridge, and finally walk him all the way back to the Odyssey to grab this key hidden away. There's your 10 moons. Once we make our way into Metro, we see that at night we're pretty blocked off here. There's a whole bunch of walls in the way that force us to take the scenic route. This means we have to go through the entire construction area. Really have to be careful not to fall off here. Then, as soon as we're back on solid ground, there's a bunch of tanks blowing stuff up. That's fun, but just make sure to walk around them nice and quick. Now we just make our way up the stairs, over these platforms, and ride the elevators inside the tower. Key advice here is to always be moving, because there's a bunch of fly enemies here that get really annoying. And then of course there is a Mecha Wiggler, which is exactly what you'd think it is. Thankfully, once we're in Day Metro, everything is a lot more open. No walls that block us from going straight down the road, so we can walk right over to Pauline and then grab the 4 musicians. I also completed a few challenges when doing this, and then we go into the sewers and jump across all of these platforms to turn on the power and enjoy the festival. This is easily the most important part because it gets your morale to the highest point possible. With that complete, we have enough Metro moons, so it is on to Snow. This place is set up nice and easy for us. All we gotta do is get through all 4 rooms while grabbing a couple of bonus moons along the way. Poison Room, where we use the Blowy Joeys to get rid of all the Spinies. Rango Room, where we have a rematch with the Brutal, this time throwing 2 hats at us. Ice Room, where we just collect the 5 shards from down below, and then use the Bite Frost to lift us up. And the Goomba Room, where we capture a stack of Goombas so that we don't slip. And we just have to find a platform so we can make it to that story moon. So we can take the Goombas up these steps, let the icicles drop on all these spots, and let our platform fall right into place. Now all 4 gates have been opened so we can head down to Bound Bowl. And yeah, just win the race and you get a multi-moon, and we're done with this place. Cool. Off to Seaside now, and this one is pretty similar. There are 4 story moons around the area that we have to get, so we can start by using a Gushin to get the moon on the stone pillar, then swim over to the base of the lighthouse and go inside. Then we can use a fish to swim through this whole thing and grab the moon at the top of there. We can grab a couple more moons on the way to the next area, which involves using a Gushin to clear all the lava off the hot springs to get that moon underwater. Finally, we can make our way all the way to the cave in the corner and make our way up that whole thing while watching out for the spike balls being rolled at us. And then there's the simple process of cleaning the lava off the boss's head and taking him down. What else is new? Now it's back to one of the big kingdoms with a luncheon. First of all, we can do another Goomba Love moon by making a stack of 4 and rolling our way across the corn, and then getting ourselves a lava bubble to jump up these steps, right into the next Spewer Arena. It's as easy as before. Once that's done, we can get a couple of moons in the town, which is important because we need a lot here. And then we gotta walk right out on this platform to capture another lava bubble. Using that, we can jump up these Pepto-Bismol geysers and make our way to the next platform. And then, pretty simple from here, use a Pan Bro to break the cheese rock so you can get the second story moon, get a couple more moons from the nearby sub-area, then capture the meat so the bird takes you up to the pot, and jump across everything in there to get the multi-moon. But now we have to get back up so we can fight the bird. To do that, capture a lava bubble at the start, and launch yourself over to the cave by using this cannon. After jumping up some platforms, platforms and going through some more 2D, we're there. Once again, 2 moons available in this room, so we just need 3 more. So of course, now we get to the back of the kingdom and jump up this entire mountain. There's a lot of rotating platforms, a lot of narrow edges, and even some food rolling at you. But once you're at the top, we can capture a lava bubble, blast up to the big pot, and take down Kukatiel for good. What a kingdom that was. Up next, we have a ruined kingdom where we fight the dragon, but what can I say about this? It's possibly the easiest part of the game. So up next, there's Bowser's Kingdom, which I think is pretty self-explanatory. Probably the most linear kingdom we have. Just make your way from island to island with each spark pylon, and of course, use the Pokio to help climb up all these walls. We can get 1 moon from back here, and the first story moon by taking down the ogre. Then on the next island, which has the shards, the Pokio goes absolute beast mode, climbing across all of these walls to get the shards that we need, and taking down everything in its path on its way to breaking open the box. There's another story moon, and another normal moon right after. And to finish off this place, we have the big brutal battle. Who cares about that? And the Pokio once again coming in clutch to get us up this giant wall. And how could I forget how important he also is on the mech fight? Now all we have to do is poke the giant bombs back at the legs of Robo Brood, and then the bird can climb himself right up and burst the bubble of every single brutal there is. There's the last multi-moon right there, and it's off to the final kingdom. But first, let's tackle Moon Cave, the final challenge this game has to offer. Everything that we've learned is all combined right here. Using captures, avoiding enemies, riding on slow platforms, it's all here. And even some upgraded stuff or completely new captures we've never seen before. And of course, the most epic way this place could end, a rematch with Madame Brutal. It's the same as before. So with that done, we are at the top of the kingdom. We can make our way down the red carpet into the church and bust open the door. Now it's time to take down Bowser. Just like the first time, steal his hat from him and track down the platform he's going to while avoiding all of the fire. And yeah, there's quite a lot more fire this time. He'll even try to throw giant metal spiky balls at you, so be careful. But if you can avoid all that, you can easily get the 3 hits and he is defeated. And then the final escape sequence. So everyone knows that breaking all of these rocks in this section is crucial for time save. And that's even more true in the 2D section because Bowser is kinda slow in there. So make sure to have as few obstacles as possible. But once we're out, we can claw through the last few walls, walk over to all 4 pillars and claw them down one by one, and jump over to the middle to break open the last wire. And do a cool walk just like this before jumping inside and blasting off out of here. That is undoubtedly the most perfect way to beat this game. Hey guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great April 1st, and I really hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you all next time. Take care.